Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Ask Reddit. If you're new here, I'll be going through some of the most popular questions and answers from the Ask Reddit subreddit. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to help support the channel. Let's get started with our first question. How will you react if Joe Biden becomes president again? I am British, so I would have a drink and go home. This comment section makes me wonder how Trump and Biden are both up for election. Be happy I get 4 more years of not needing to care who the Undersecretary of Transportation is. I'm ambivalent on his policies. It's just been really nice not having our leadership be the Jerry Springer show 24/7, and I wouldn't mind that continuing. Relieved that Project 2025 gets pushed back before sighing and going back to work. I don't know. Exactly the same, since he is the president currently. Relieved it's not Trump, and still pissed that our lives are in the hands of geriatric rich people. Ida, so many of you are responding, but Biden. You realize the president isn't the only person deciding our laws and policy, right? There are plenty of richer, older people in government than just him. Notice I said people, not Biden in my original comment. And for everyone saying this is both sides, eyeing the issue, one party being objectively bad and dangerous doesn't mean we should be looking at the other with rose-colored glasses. I'm tired of having to choose the least bad option rather than the one I believe will actually do good in a meaningful way. We can praise the good while also holding the same people accountable when they drop the ball. Confident that the USA will continue to exist. Thank Christ Almighty. People really should understand that you're not just voting for Biden, you're voting for his entire cabinet of 15 people, hundreds of judges, thousands of other staffers, etc. Even if you hate Biden for whatever reason, his cabinet and the judges he's appointed have been infinitely better than the corrupt filth Trump installed when he was in office. This discussion about Joe Biden becoming president again is quite interesting. There are a variety of reactions, from relief to ambivalence to concern. It's clear that people have strong feelings about the current political climate and the impact of leadership on their daily lives. I can see why some people would feel relieved that it's not Trump in office, but still have reservations about the overall system. It's important to remember that the president is just one part of a larger government and political structure. And it's true that the decisions made by the president and their administration can have far-reaching effects. How do you feel about the comments discussing a potential second term for Joe Biden? Do you think the impact of the president extends beyond their individual policies? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What product is a massive scam that everyone buys into? Companies that sell or name stars. No one owns stars. You can't own a star, and there is no governing body that authorizes the naming and ownership of stars. You, my friend, have just purchased a piece of paper for $200. Edit. After a challenge from a few people, here is the clarification after some Googling. The only body that can give names to astronomical objects is the International Astronomical Union, IAU. This hasn't stopped commercial firms from offering individuals the opportunity to sponsor stars, etc. These names will be recognized by no one, and you will be wasting your money, unfortunately. Those e-commerce guys that sell their guru courses on how to make 10K plus a month. Credit monitoring. They set up a system where false information can ruin your life and then charge you to know when it happens so you can get on top of it before the damage is done. And on top of that, when they leak the personal information of hundreds of millions of people, because their security sucks, their punishment is to give you their service for a short period of time for free. Despite the fact that your information being out there means you'll need to pay for it after that free period ends. It's a modern-day digital version of the mob's "it would be a shame if your house burned down, let us help protect it" extortion racket. They've convinced the world that our identities are being stolen rather than what it really is. Financial institutions are being defrauded, and they've shifted the burden for their problem onto us. Herbalife. They must have done something special to manage to sell it to a lot of people. Donut holes. The bakery steals the middle of your pastry and then sells it back to you. Those bracelets with a sticker on them that claim to align your magnetic field or whatever. Sudafed regular. You absolutely should be going to the RX counter and getting the non-prescription but controlled version. This is really interesting and kind of sad to think about how people are being scammed by companies in various ways. Whether it's purchasing a fake piece of the sky or falling for a get-rich-quick scheme, it's frustrating to see people being taken advantage of. But the most outrageous one has to be credit monitoring services. The fact that they profit off of people's personal information being compromised and then offer limited free access as a punishment when they're the ones at fault is absolutely infuriating. It's like they're using fear tactics to make money off of a problem they've created. Have you ever fallen for a scam or known someone who has? It's so important to be aware of these things and protect ourselves from being exploited. Let's discuss some of the ways to avoid falling for these scams and how to help others do the same. Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What's something small you started doing that makes you drastically happier? Going for walks. Drastically happier is probably an overstatement, but it has helped. Realizing the difference between when I actually screwed up and when someone is taking their frustrations out on me, and then asking what's actually wrong, because this isn't a proportional response to the issue. Slowing down at work. I don't need to respond to every email right away or make sure everything is up to date constantly. Some things can just wait. Undressing the moment I get home from work, swapping that piece of uniform to comfy soft clothes, legit makes me chill out and smile just to think about it. Okay, these are really small, but 1. Wearing gloves while washing dishes. 2. Wearing earplugs or noise-canceling earbuds plus audiobook podcast while vacuuming or drying my hair. 3. Watching a favorite TV show while folding laundry. Basically, I tried to minimize the sensory discomfort and boredom of regular chores, and now I almost look forward to them. Bedtime routine. I worked on it, and now it's solid, and I can fall asleep in less than 20 minutes. For an insomniac worrywart, it's been life-changing getting solid sleep and made me so much less grumpy. Deleted social media, stopped thinking about the past. Those 2 things have been huge in increasing my well-being. Stopped commenting on political articles online. Too many pointless arguments really ruin the day. This is really interesting. I love hearing about small changes that people make that end up having a big impact on their happiness. It's amazing how something as simple as going for a walk or changing your bedtime routine can make such a difference. I can totally relate to the idea of slowing down at work and not feeling the need to respond to every email right away. It's so important to find those little things that make a big difference in our day-to-day lives. So, what small change have you made that has drastically improved your happiness? I think it's so important to find those little things that bring us joy and make our days better. Let's share some ideas and maybe we can all learn something new. Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What celebrity rumor did you hear privately long before the news broke? I saw Bruce Willis's condition in 2015 while working on a movie with him. They knew then already. He had giant cue cards for every scene and still blew it often. Very sad. I have a friend who is in a moderately successful punk band and tours small venues around the country. A few years ago, he was in Austin and posted on Facebook something like, "I think I just saw a drunk Shia LaBeouf in a bar yelling 'do it' at people." A few hours later, I started seeing headlines that read, "Shia LaBeouf arrested at a bar in Austin." Around 2010, my friend, a massage therapist, had a guest staying in his hotel who creeped him out so much that he refused to service him again after the second day, even though the guy was leaving a €300 tip each session. When he told his manager he didn't want to work for this guest anymore, the manager was baffled and told him it was a celebrity staying for our hometown film festival. It was Kevin Spacey. I went to college with a kid from Long Island who grew up around Lindsay Lohan. He said her family was completely insane and that she'd probably go insane too. Kind of happened, although she corrected course before it got really bad. He also said the dad used to mess around with every woman in town and use his daughter's clout to socialize with the women. A friend of mine told me this story when he used to work at a film studio, and one of the guys he worked with was closely related to Mel Gibson. One time Gibson ended up hanging out with them, drinking, smoking, shooting the shit. Gibson told them that he hated Harvey Weinstein, then said he was a scumbag and had a weird, messed up mushroom penis. He also said he was a really weird, gross creep with women, and said something else to imply what we all know to be true now, but stopped short of outright calling him a serial rapist. He also said everyone in Hollywood knew about it. That was 2013, 2014 or so. 30 Rock had a lot of Weinstein jokes a decade before he was revealed as a rapist. It wasn't long before the news broke that I went to a Jonas Brothers concert and saw Joe wasn't wearing his wedding ring, and then a week later, he filed for divorce. This collection of celebrity rumors is definitely intriguing. It's always fascinating to hear about behind-the-scenes insights into the lives of famous people. Whether it's Bruce Willis struggling on set, Shia LaBeouf getting into trouble at a bar, or Kevin Spacey's unsettling behavior, there's no shortage of juicy details here. I can't believe that Mel Gibson openly expressed his disdain for Harvey Weinstein years before the public knew about his predatory behavior. It's wild to think that these Hollywood insiders had knowledge of these scandals long before they became public knowledge. Have you ever heard any juicy celebrity rumors before they became big news? I'd love to hear your stories. Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. Which musician did you stop listening to because you found out they sucked as a person? Chris Brown, I will never stop backing that man. I used to love 30 Seconds to Mars, but Jared Leto ruined it. Also, their music sucks now. Recently, I can't listen to a Lizzo song without thinking about the workplace allegations. Kanye. Once he started praising Hitler, yeah, that was it. Deleted all of his music from my phone immediately. Tried to hold out because I love his music and was like, well, he's clearly got mental health issues and needs help. But when you get to the point of talking about Hitler's good qualities, that's more than a bridge too far, regardless of mental health issues. Diane Antwoord, I still listen sometimes with guilt. The responses to this question are certainly interesting, as they reveal how an artist's personal life and actions can impact their fans' enjoyment of their music. Each person has their reasons for no longer supporting certain musicians, whether it's due to controversial statements or allegations. It's fascinating to see how people's perspectives on an artist can change based on their behavior outside of the music industry. Jared Leto ruined 30 Seconds to Mars for me, too. I used to love their music, but now I can't listen to it without thinking about him. It's a shame because their music used to mean a lot to me. Have you ever had a similar experience with a musician or band? Did it change the way you view their music? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What's the creepiest thing you've seen in broad daylight? A guy was trying to start a fight with random guys while queuing up to get into a concert. He was also coming out with all this creepy stuff to the girls around him. He was standing right next to me, and I was just telling him to stop acting like such a stupid person when someone walked up and stabbed him in the chest. He died pretty much instantly. This was in the 1990s in New Zealand. Suicide at the Hoover Dam. He plummeted all the way down. I work security at a hospital. I really just sit outside of the construction zone where they're doing remodeling and make sure homeless people and teenagers don't get in. But I'm also sat right outside the door they use to take the bodies out. There's just something eerie about how discreet and impersonal it is. Not that I expect there to be some sort of fanfare when someone dies, but they're just wrapped in quilts or thick blankets, quietly loaded up into an unmarked van, and that's it. It's a major hospital, so there's several bodies wheeled out every day. Worst is when you know it's a child, but I thankfully don't see much of that. They tend to wait until the middle of the night, so fewer people see, so they don't upset people. Always just strikes this weird feeling in me when I see them. Edit. I should also say that there is a bit of fanfare if they're an organ donor. The doctors and nurses will line up along the hall when they take them out and have just like a little moment of silence. Like a way to express their thanks for this person inevitably helping someone else. Very bittersweet. The creepiest thing for me was when I was out surfing in Northern California. It's really cold, dark water, and I was out by myself. I was sitting there waiting for a wave, and my leash felt like it was caught up, which it does sometimes. I like to fix it before a wave comes, so there's no hindrance when I go to stand up. Well, I pulled at it a little, and it felt like seaweed or something was on it. I turned towards the back of my board, and there was something on it. A harbor seal who was sitting on the back of my board, laying on my leash. It scared the heck out of me, but my screaming scared the heck out of him, and it went back into the water, and I paddled in. I know it's not the creepiest thing in this thread, but it definitely scared me pretty good. Not quite broad daylight, but more like dusk. I look out my front window and see a lump on my lawn that looks out of place. I think, that really looks like a dude in a ghillie suit on my front lawn. I keep staring at it and become more and more convinced it is a dude in a ghillie suit. And I start to freak out a bit and don't know what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Like, do I call the cops? Then a bunch of neighborhood kids run up to the lump, and the actual factual real dude in a ghillie suit gets up. It was an older kid or a dad or something playing hide and seek in a ghillie suit. I watched a murder of crows follow a Toyota Corolla into a mall parking lot. The car parked, and a greasy-looking middle-aged man got out. He beelined for the mall entrance without once making eye contact with the crows who were now following him. At the last second before entering the mall, he tossed a big handful of peanuts over his shoulder, and the crows went wild. It seemed less like the man was controlling the crows, and more like the crows were controlling him. A man on the sidewalk looked around and then pulled down a ski mask and crept into a building as I drove past. In summer. I was taking the subway one day, and a lady was walking around chugging a massive bottle of hot sauce. Bloodshot eyes, tears streaming down her face. Of course, she sat next to me on the two-seat bench. At first, she was complimenting my nails, and then she just started staring at me, much too close for comfort. She still had tears down her face, still chugging the hot sauce. I made a comment asking if it was good or something. She acted like I was crazy for noticing it. This was at least 2 years ago, and I still can't get her face out of my mind. Hope she's doing well. Got lost driving through Montana and wound up in the middle of nowhere. Saw a small town, maybe like 15 buildings total, and figured I'd ask for directions. As I got closer, I saw that it looked like it was abandoned, houses all dilapidated and in disrepair. But every house had a shiny new car in front of it. Not sure what it was about, but my girlfriend and I both got real bad vibes from it and just drove right past. This is a really chilling and spooky thread, and it's interesting to see all the different experiences people have had in broad daylight. The man being stabbed in line for a concert is especially horrifying, but the eerie feeling of seeing bodies being quietly taken out of a hospital is also extremely unsettling. It's terrifying to think about seeing someone wearing a ghillie suit on your lawn, thinking they're a stranger, or encountering a creepy person on public transportation. The various accounts of creepy happenings in broad daylight really make you think about the unexpected and unnerving things that can happen in everyday life. So, what's the creepiest experience you've had in broad daylight? Have you ever encountered something that made your hair stand on end while the sun was still shining? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's move right into our next Reddit post. What's a small, everyday inconvenience that you believe should have been solved by now? Those stickers on products that leave sticker residue when pulled off. So now you have sticky goo with paper bits on your cup. The extremely poor audio quality of fast food drive-through speakers. How can it even sound that bad in 2024? How? When a food package says peel here or tear here, and it never freaking works, and you need to get scissors or a knife to open the package. Cereal bags do not have a zipper closure. All wireless controller devices should have an easy way to locate them. If I can't find my TV remote, video game controller, etc., I should be able to go over to the device, hit a button, and the device starts beeping. Uploading your resume, and then having to enter everything from the resume on the next screen. The thin metal handles on cans of paint. Is there no better way to carry paint than by a handle? Invisible lane markings when roads are wet. The comments are interesting and relatable. It's amazing how so many small inconveniences in our daily lives have not been addressed. I mean, seriously, why do we still have those sticky residues from product stickers in this day and age? And don't even get me started on the poor audio quality of fast food drive-thru speakers. It's 2024, and we're still struggling to make clear, understandable sound come out of those things. And don't even get me started on the frustration of trying to open food packaging that claims to have an easy peel here tab that never works. It's like a daily battle just to get a snack. I mean, we live in a world of advanced technology and innovation. How is it that these everyday annoyances persist? It's mind-boggling, isn't it? What are some other small, everyday inconveniences that you think should have been solved by now? Can you think of any particularly irritating ones that drive you crazy on a daily basis? Well, that's another episode of Ask Reddit in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.